Drum tip number 1. By getting a sort of flam effect where we have the snares hitting at different times, they all add to a bit more of a texture snare. They all happen at the same time, so they're overlapping and they're all just making one extra big sound, but we don't really like that. We like a bit of thickness. Move the second one a little bit earlier, third one a little bit later. Nice. Make it more exacerbated. Gotta get a flam. Yes, beautiful. Not just with all 3 transients hitting at the same time makes it a bit boring. You could do the same with 4, 5, 6 snares. More texture, sounds nicer. What was my next tip? Tip number 2, your kick. Let's have 2 kicks for our 1 kick. So we'll have a kick for a high end, kick for the low end. Put them together and you've got 1 kick. This will work particularly well for you pop production people and electronic music people in those foot to the floor hits where you really want to hear the high frequencies a little bit clearer and punch through the mix. So let's get our 2 kicks. Nice little click at the top, and then I like the sound of this guy for the low end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag them in. Now this will totally depend on what your sounds are, but let's try and mix them off. Maybe say around 500, the low is going to take below, and then our high kick is going to take above 500, and we'll just cut them off at the same point. So the top kick sounds like this now. Let's have a listen to the low guy on its own, and then together, maybe even like 300. Cool. Might change the rhythm a little bit to make it more interesting. What's the track sound like? Calling your taxi with you. Now that we've split our kick into 2 parts, we've way more control. Could nearly move that guy a little bit earlier to make him sound a bit more drunk. Now, speaking of a drunk vibe, this brings us to point number 3. Kaytranada style of drums. We need to move these hi-hats hitting after the beat. So like just a slight bit off time. I'll show you right now. So we get our hi-hat, lo-fi motel, let's go for it. Cool, we can make them even later if you wanted to. There's always this variable of each track calls for something unique. Same as the frequencies with the kicks earlier. Duplicate them across as well. Maybe getting rid of some of the hats as we go along. Maybe the ones which hit with the snares. So we've the late hi-hats, but now along with the late hi-hats, let's make the snares early. And that's the Kaytranada style. So let's grab all those snares which are already hitting at different times, but let's move them all early. Let's drag these drums out here just so we can hear them in a more obvious fashion of how this Kaytranada style works. Let's loop this little section. Snares are early and the hi-hats are late. And you can make those hi-hats even lazier. They're already quite lazy. Move them back a little bit. Maybe grab the snares and make them even earlier. Let's see how drunk we can really make it feel. That's madness. You got the Kaytranada kind of drunk style of feel. Really feels like you're, I don't know, drunk. Give it a go. It sounds class. Going back to the actual beat, here's what we've done with those tips so far. Cool. Tip number 4. We reached there eventually. Syncopated hi-hats. We love syncopation. Accent off the beat. Open hi-hat. I do like this one. It just sounds so real. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So not on the 1, 2, 3 or 4. We can actually see the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4 marked off here. So we're going to go halfway in between to the end of each of those beats. I'm going to make flex pitch polyphonic so it doesn't change the pitch. And then I'm just going to get this hi-hat rolling off and just stopping right on the downbeat. Let's copy those across, right? So we have one of each of these beats. We use marquee 2. Lovely. One of my favorite beats is this, where we have it 4 times, mute the 4th one. So you have it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Doesn't happen. And it starts again. So let's listen to it with all 4 in. Now let's just mute every 4th one. Turn them down a little bit, pan them slightly to the right, just like you would your hi-hats. Because when you're a drummer, you play your hi-hats to the left. When the audience is facing you, your hi-hats to your left, to the audience's right. So we're going to pan it to the audience's right ear because that's where people are listening to music as if they're facing you. Our last tip of the day, tip number 5. Kicks. We've talked about having 2 kicks. Now, how about having a 3rd kick? This sounds like a bit much, but I promise it's not actually that much. If you're a drummer, you will often have multiple kicks, right? So there's nearly like a small kick followed by a big kick. Having those double kicks, and now a triple in this case. And when we have an extra little low kick, or if we could call him a small kick, he will have a tiny bit less low end, right? And he's also going to be a little bit quieter. I like the double kick here. Boom, boom. Now you can see all the drums. Here we go. Just a small kick. One small kicking brings a little bit of dynamic with it because it's as if there's a real drummer playing. Just like the late hi-hats, just like the early snares. Please do hit the like button. Really does help the channel out. And I stream these live over on Twitch. That's where you get the real breakdowns. That's where you get the real detail. Full hours of endless entertainment and some learning, hopefully. Sweet. Let's put some swing on those bad boys.